Hello everyone, Springfield.
Wait a sec, it's been 4 weeks? Oh my god, my upload schedule is just such a disaster. I have no excuse. Okay, so last week was Gamescom 2020, and a lot of new games were revealed, and most of them were profoundly stupid. Seriously though, this year's Gamescom sucked. But we only care about one of them. That's right, Little Nightmares 2. We not only got a new trailer, but the first 15 minutes of gameplay were shown there too. I mean, like, the first 15 minutes is cool, but like it's just a video. I feel like it would have been a lot more interesting if it had been like a playable demo on their website or something, and we could just play that part in the game ourselves instead of, them just showing it. I don't know. Just me. Anyway, I have a very interesting theory about the TV signal and what exactly it does, so let's just get into it. The trailer starts with Mono in a forest by a TV. We'll talk more about this in the 15-minute gameplay clip. Next, Mono is walking to the Huntsman's shack, and what will probably be another one of those painfully tense stealth sequences we've come to know from Little Nightmare. Then in the next shot, we have Mono helping who we presume to be Six get up from underneath the desk. From the tallies, we can tell that Six has been here for a long time. And from the context around the shot and the 15-minute gameplay clip at Gamescom, we know that Six is in the Hunter's shack, which means that the Hunter must have captured her and decided not to kill her for some reason. If this is in fact a direct sequel to Little Nightmares 1, which it may not be, we'll get to that later, this could be because Six inherited the lady's powers, and he decided to hold her captive to study her instead of, spawn killing her. In the next shot, Mono and Six are running down a city alleyway. They're actually moving towards the camera, similar to how the runaway kid did in his DLC. Now here's where things get interesting. God, that's gotta be like my catchphrase at this point. I've said that in literally every video. Anyway, Six and Mono are crossing a room full of mannequins. This is actually super important. We'll get to why in a minute. But if you notice, there's actually the first time we see Six with her raincoat. So if this is a prequel, which it probably is, again, I made a whole video on why that is. Links in the iCard in the description. I would assume we will get to learn how Six got her raincoat and why this is significant. Then we have Six and Mono walking through the grass and hiding from the Hunter. It seems that Little Nightmares 2 is going to introduce more traps, as you can see Six and Mono dodging a swinging vase, and Mono using rocks to activate bear traps. This shot here is further proof that Six gets her raincoat sometime during the hospital chapter. Now back at the hospital, Mono is being chased by a disembodied hand with more mannequin parts hanging above. This shot really disturbs me for some reason. It's a ton of doll hands grasping at Mono. Then from here it looks like we can see the main hospital enemy crawling along the ceiling. I did my best to brighten it up, and it kind of seems like some sort of worm creature. It has a similar shape to the ferryman, and it may be wearing clothing. Now here's where things get really interesting. In this shot we can see Mono being chased by a mannequin, which seems to freeze in the light, similar to the way SCP-173 behaves. It appears that this mannequin is a fusion of doll and human parts, as if you look inside the neck it appears to be made of wood, but the outside of the mannequin is covered in skin. The severed hand chasing Mono further backs this up, along with countless mannequins throughout the hospital. It seems that the entire purpose of this hospital is to fuse mannequin parts of human ones and create these horrible abominations. Now this mannequin theory is actually nothing new. Way back in 2017 when Little Nightmares 1 first came out, the king of Little Nightmares theories himself, the Gaming Beaver, actually had a theory that all the Little Nightmares characters were puppets constructed from mannequin parts and flesh. And there was no evidence for this theory. All he had to go off of was some vague character descriptions and the fact that the janitor's skull didn't seem to have any eye sockets or any sort of features at all. So everyone at the time thought it was an outlandish crazy theory, which it was, but what is even crazier is that 3 years later this man turned out to be right. We first got a taste of this in Very Little Nightmares, when the Pretender was capturing kids and turning them into dolls. And it is heavily implied that the Pretender is the daughter of the Hanging Man. It seems she's following in his footsteps. And even the Hunter has an obsession with stuffing and taxidermy, as you can see these stuffed creatures littered all around his shack. It seems that every corner of the Little Nightmares world has a connection to this human doll taxidermy stuff. But there's one thing that hasn't been explained yet. The signal. I haven't really seen anyone online trying to solve exactly what this broadcast is doing beyond, mind control, I guess. So that's my theory for today. I believe the Hanging Man is using this signal to raise the dead, taking spare parts, Frankensteining them together, and using his magic to create what are essentially zombies. We already know that the TVs can be used for fast travel around the world as a gameplay mechanic. So if it's possible to transfer people through these TVs, it could definitely be possible to broadcast magic through them as well. Okay, but most of this has been speculation, so what evidence do I have for any of this? Well, from the ending of Little Nightmares, we know that Six took hold of the lady's power. And we saw at the end that one of the main powers of the lady seems to be taking souls from other creatures. And whenever the lady's power is used, these black smoke particles appear. Now think back to the final boss fight with the lady in Six. Six used a mirror to reflect the lady's power back at her. And whenever she reflects the power, white particles appear, signifying that the lady's power has been inverted. Now what's interesting is the exact same white particles appear every time someone interacts with the TVs from Little Nightmares 2. So if the TV signal is actually an inversion of the lady's power, an inversion of the soul-sucking power, then the signal would have the ability to infuse these mannequin creatures with life and presumably program them. And funny enough, if you look, we actually see a ton of these mannequin creatures looking at TVs over the course of Little Nightmares. Apart from the mannequins, we have the doll children from Very Little Nightmares, and even the janitor, who in the original theory was a mannequin creature, has some sort of strange attraction to the TVs. Even the teacher could be a puppet, as in the next shot she seems glassy-eyed and stone-faced and moves mechanically. Now we get to see the new combat mechanics, which I am super excited about, because having combat in this game is going to make it so much more fun to play. Like, Little Nightmares was good, don't get me wrong, but it definitely got a little stale after a while because there wasn't really any creatures to fight and interact with. So we're finally getting to see the teacher use her neck, and yeah, it looks terrifying. I'm guessing it'll be similar to the janitor's long arms from Little Nightmares 1, except worse. Much, much worse. The final two shots before we get a look at the broadcaster are people looking at TVs, and it's mostly unclear whether they're mannequins or not. Now we finally get to see the broadcaster, whose name has been revealed as the Thin Man in all his glory. And from the image on their website and these shots here, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that he is definitely the Hanging Man. I mean, he's even got a broken-looking neck in this picture. Wow, Tarza, you're a nice way to hit us over the head with that one. And the interesting thing is, he really does share a lot of characteristics with the lady. Like, we've got levitation, telekinesis, particles. He's a tall, lanky creature and relatively normal-looking compared to everyone else in this world. Oh, and we finally got a release date for this game, which, surprise, surprise, has been delayed to February 11th, 2021, which, in case you guys didn't know, is about 81 years from now. So, I think that's pretty much all for this video. If you made it this far into the video, thanks for watching to the end. Did you enjoy the video? I know you guys really like these Little Nightmares videos. Like, the only video requests I've ever gotten are to make more Little Nightmares videos. So I'll try to keep them coming if I have any more interesting theories. Goodbye.